Today in the show, we have the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by laughingplace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on March 6th, 2024, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. A new benefit for Walt Disney World Resort hotel guests coming in 2025, Disney getting out of the physical media business, a fitting tribute to a legendary Imagineer coming to the Disney Treasure, and more.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
Considering this is the first House of Mouse headlines back after a couple months hiatus, let's touch on some older news first. Believe it or not, D23's next big event is fast approaching. Dubbed D23, the ultimate Disney fan event, tickets for this year's gathering will go on sale March 26th. Taking place in Anaheim, California from August 9th through the 11th, D23 will feature spectacular shows, new venues, and multiple days of entertainment that will bring together the best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and more. The event will feature Disney Plus integration, musical performances with world-class artists, special content presentations, a new interactive app, and one-of-a-kind shopping experiences. As previously announced, this will also include nightly events at the Honda Center. On top of that, D23 will host a special event in Brazil this November, marking the first time Disney's biggest fan event will take place in Latin America. With March 26th now just around the corner, stay tuned for more updates on the ultimate Disney fan event. Last month, Disney's online retail site, Shop Disney, rebranded, going back to a familiar name. The site is now once again DisneyStore.com as of February 14th, representing a reversal of a decision made back in 2017. However, if you order from the store, you may still end up with some Shop Disney packaging, as the service works through its current supplies in an effort not to waste. This rebranding comes as many of the company's physical Disney Store locations have shuttered. Additionally, recent reports indicate that the then-named Shop Disney laid off workers earlier this year. Regardless of the name change, you can still find all of the latest collections, including Disney Parks merchandise, on DisneyStore.com. Tokyo Disney Resort has announced the second event in their Disney Palpalooza series, with Donald's Quack Duck City taking place April 9th through June 30th. Guests can enter the extraordinary world of Duck City, Donald's ideal world where he reigns as the ultimate superstar. During this event, guests can enjoy the world of Donald's imagination as the park undergoes a transformation. Plus, the new entertainment offering, Quacky Celebration, Donald the Legend, will make its debut. The new parade will also feature Pete making his debut in an entertainment program at Tokyo Disney Resort. Various Disney friends will also gather in Duck City to celebrate their beloved superstar Donald. These friends will dress in Donald's iconic blue, white, and yellow. The Mickey flower bed at the entrance of the park will be transformed into a Donald-themed version, while a monument honoring Donald's superstar status will be placed at the heart of World Bazaar. Of course, exclusive merchandise and special menu items will be available for purchase. So get ready for a full celebration of all things Donald at Tokyo Disneyland starting this April. On December 13th of last year, Disney legend Dick Nunis, the prolific former chairman of Walt Disney Attractions, passed away. He was 91. Nunis started his career at Disneyland in 1955, which at the time he thought would be just a summer job. From 1967 to 1974, Nunis served as chairman of the Park Operations Committee, and in 1968 was bumped up to vice president of operations. By 1971, the year the Magic Kingdom opened at Walt Disney World, he was named Executive Vice President of Walt Disney World and Disneyland. On May 26, 1999, exactly 44 years to the day since he joined the company, Nunis retired as chairman of Walt Disney Attractions. He was honored as a Disney legend that same year and received a window on Main Street at Disneyland in 2013. During his time at Disney, Nunis always kept his focus on the people, saying, quote, Walt believed strongly that what would make Disneyland different was the people. He wanted them to feel that they were part of the organization. That's why he established the first name policy. He was Walt, I was Dick, and so on. From an overall operations point of view, the most important thing is to work together to make sure that when guests come, they have a wonderful experience. Now let's transition into some more current news. If you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World in 2025, you can now book hotel rooms and purchase theme park tickets for next year. However, you may notice slightly higher ticket prices. While the resort's pricing scheme makes it difficult to pinpoint pricing, the lowest ticket price of $109 has now increased to $119. The Park Hopper add-on option has also gone up anywhere from $5 to $10 for many dates in the new year. Meanwhile, the maximum price for a single-day, single-park ticket in 2025 is $189, which matches the same peak price for 2024. However, it should be noted that ticket prices for November and December 2025 have not yet been published. Of course, to see pricing for your specific dates, you'll want to visit the Walt Disney World website. This December, Disney Cruise Line's new ship, the Disney Treasure, will set sail for its inaugural voyage. Ahead of that, Disney has released a new theme song for the ship sung by pop star and American Idol winner Jordan Sparks. Titled Live the Adventure, the song takes inspiration from Aladdin, which is also the theme of the new ship's Grand Hall. You can check out the new track by heading to your favorite streaming service. The Disney Treasure will set sail on its maiden voyage on December 21st. Legendary Disney Imagineer Rolly Crump will be honored within the Haunted Mansion parlor coming to the new Disney Treasure cruise ship. A new bust bound for the upcoming lounge is being crafted at a dedicated Walt Disney Imagineering workshop at Walt Disney World. News of this sculpture was revealed on what would have been Crump's 94th birthday. Nicknamed Rolly by Walt Disney himself, during the early days of the company, he played an integral role in designing the original Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. 6 decades later, the Haunted Mansion parlor will unlock the next chapter of the Haunted Mansion saga for Disney Cruise Line guests. The venue will be imbued with Crump's unique brand of humor and is a proud continuation of his legacy, celebrating the weird and the fantastical. Part of Rolly's larger creative concept for a Museum of the Weird in the Haunted Mansion, his original vision included a character that appeared to be melting like a candle. It was only fitting for the design of Rolly's memorial bust to stem from his own ideas, which led to the sculpted drips on the side of his face and a memorial plaque that reads, Brother Roland, forever revered for embracing the weird. You'll be able to see this unique bust for yourself when the Haunted Mansion parlor debuts aboard the Disney Treasure. A controversial change has come to some popular Disney Cruise Line locations. Now, guests visiting the adult-exclusive restaurants Palo or Palo Steakhouse for brunch will be able to wear dress shorts. However, the acceptance of dress shorts is currently only during brunch. Nevertheless, some cruise fans have expressed their displeasure with this rule change on social media. In any case, Disney does remind guests that adult-exclusive restaurants aboard Disney Cruise Line ships are elegant dining experiences. In turn, guests are requested to dress in a manner consistent with the restaurant's sophistication, with formal or semi-formal attire recommended. Disneyland Paris has revealed plans for a new reserved viewing area for 2 of its most popular shows. Beginning March 28th, guests will be able to book a spot in a reserved viewing area. This will be offered for both Disney Stars on Parade and Disney Dreams. Access to this new viewing area will be available at the flat rate cost of €19 per person per show, with no discounts offered. At this time, the exact location of the area has yet to be announced. Guests will be able to purchase access via the Disneyland Paris app in limited quantities, so keep an eye out for the new paid options starting later this month. A major shakeup has happened at Walt Disney Motion Picture Studios as Sean Bailey, the president of Walt Disney Studios, is departing after 15 years. Notably, Bailey helped create the current live-action animation remake trend with Disney. He began his career producing Tron Legacy, and fittingly will stay on to produce Tron Ares. Bailey will be replaced with Searchlight's co-president David Greenbaum, whose new title will be President, Disney Live Action and 20th Century Studios. In a statement, Bailey said, quote, "These 15 years at Disney have been an incredible journey, but the time is right for a new chapter. I'm deeply grateful for my exceptional team and proud of the slate and history we've built together. I wish Bob Iger, Alan Bergman, and all of my amazing colleagues the very best for a bright future." And now it's time to bring back Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. Oh my gosh, Kyle Burbank, you're still here.
I am still, well, I'm in somewhere else, but I'm still here in the general term. Yeah. Hi.
But you actually never left. You've just been in this Zencaster session since 2023 waiting for me to come back. And
I just leave a tab open. It kills my laptop battery a little tiny bit each day, but it's worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Well, it's good to see you, my friend. I haven't seen you in a long time. And as you said, you moved in the same general area, but
Yeah, we bought a house. And so this is our first home and getting used to that and already bracing for all of the expenses that will come with it. But the dog loves it. And isn't that really all that matters?
That's all that matters. Excellent. Well, let's jump into some news. Of course, we're going to start rewinding a bit. There's a lot to catch up on. We've been gone for a while with the House of Mouse headlines, and there were certain things I definitely wanted to make sure we discussed. One being that The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, is coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios in fall 2024. The all-new theatrical production will take over the newly refreshed Animation Courtyard Theater. Formerly home to Voyage of the Little Mermaid, the theater has sat empty since the parks reopened from the pandemic closures. The new show is set to include new sets, brand new effects, and a new design inspired by Ariel's imagination and unique point of view. Part of Your World, Poor Unfortunate Souls, Kiss the Girl, and more will be included in this new production. There are no mention of any songs from the new live-action film. So
you're hoping for Scuttlebutt?
No, hell no. Gosh, if there's a Scuttlebutt in there, I'd be so upset. No, but it seems like they're still leaning into the animated classic more so than the live-action film.
It seems like that, although it's funny when they say her unique perspective, unique point of view, all I could think of is her, looking up out of the ocean.
I was so delighted to hear this news. I don't know if you cared at all, but I gotta tell you...
I'm glad that they're utilizing dead space that's been sitting there for a ridiculous amount of time. But otherwise, no, I've actually don't think I've ever seen the other show.
Wait a second.
It's just not one of the things that, I mean, maybe I did, depending on how long it's been there. I might have seen it when I was a little kid, but I haven't seen it as of late.
You have no memories of seeing Voyage of the Little Mermaid?
No.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That was a must-do every time I went. And listen, I recognize it's dated. I recognize it needed some help. It's getting the help. I'm thrilled about that. But I must say, compared to the other show that's been around forever, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage, Voyage of the Little Mermaid was glorious in comparison. So... I'm very happy it's getting the TLC. I'm very happy it's sticking around. It is interesting, though, because, there's always rumors of Animation Courtyard at Disney's Hollywood Studios becoming something else. So the fact that this is returning or being updated, I don't know. What does that mean for Animation Courtyard, I wonder?
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar situation to how, everyone figured Toontown's days were numbered, and then they opened a brand new, depending on who you ask, D or an E ticket. We'll have to get into that another time. So, yeah, similar thing. I have no idea what to expect there. But yeah, some of those things need to go. The launch bay. Why is that still a thing?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely dead space in the Animation Courtyard that needs to go. And let's face it, Voyage of the Little Mermaid is it's on the left as you enter. So, they could kind of reroute it into a different land, make the entrance in a separate location. They could do that and, still use that other space. Who knows? We don't know yet. But I'm really excited about this, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I think Disney learned a lesson here between this and Muppet Vision 3D. I think they learned that years of wedding seats that are made of cloth is not a good idea. As you've probably seen, Muppet Vision 3D got the update with a more leather-like seat that is water resistant. I'm going to assume and hope that the same is happening with the new Little Mermaid show at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
I mean, they've had a good 4 years to do it, so you would hope.
I would certainly hope so. But in any case, that was great news that came out a while ago. I'm super excited about it, and that's fantastic. But let's move on because the Main Street Electrical Parade has come to life in a whole new way with the debut of the incredible new drone show at Disneyland Paris, Disney Electrical Sky Parade. The iconic floats of the Main Street Electrical Parade are recreated in the skies above Disneyland Paris with drones accompanied by updated electro-syntho-magnetic musical sounds. They use up to 500 drones. This is incredible. I mean, I've only seen video of it. I think you've only seen video of this, but you have seen drone shows in person there, correct?
Yes, I've seen Disneyland Paris, some of their other stuff, but I have not seen this. But yeah, those videos are incredible.
They took something that I thought I had no interest in anymore, the Main Street Electrical Parade, and brought it to life in such a glorious fashion. And I love that they used it for, like, let's face it, drones connect the dot images, right? Like, it's not, for lack of a better term, convincing images.
Sure.
So to do it with something retro, I think was such a smart decision. I liken it to how Universal has used augmented reality for a Super Mario ride. You know, the technology isn't great, but in a video game circumstance, it actually works and makes sense. I think drones used in a retro fashion make a lot of sense.
And especially for something like Electrical Parade where, you know, yes, there are physical floats there, but the focus of it are those points of light. So it's kind of a perfect analog.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I mean, it's already my favorite castle just visually, and then the nighttime spectaculars they do with the fountains and the projection mapping, already fantastic. This is just like top-notch nighttime spectacular. Very exciting. And then they're doing things with drone that I don't know if it's the first time they've done this with drones, but like they have pyro blasting off of it for the pirate ship sequence. They have smoke coming out of like the chimney of the train and Elliot Dragon's nostrils and just stuff that's quite incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how far they've come just from that first little pre-show thing that they did for the 30th. I think I told you, like, seeing the number of drones they used in between the 2 years of July 14th, Fête Nationale. The 1 year had some drones, and they did the exact same show the next year, and the number of drones and the effects that they were able to pull off was, like, already exponentially better. So we're going to see some really crazy things from them in the coming years, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I've only seen drones used in a theme park in one location, and that's Universal Studios Hollywood has used it for some of their Harry Potter Hogwarts projection shows. There's one show that has a drone of some creature off to the side, and I think that's the only time I've seen it in person. And it's impressive because, like, you don't hear the drones going into place. You don't see a trail of smoke. Like, it just appears out of nowhere. And it's really cool. I have no idea what the answer to this is, but I would love to know, like, how much money they're saving. I'm assuming they're saving money because you can reuse the drones versus new pyro every night. I'm going to assume it's cheaper. And I mean, the effect is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely prefer it, even if it does save them money. I have no qualm. If they want to cut down on pyro and use drones instead, I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, the neighbors prefer it because less noise. It's not, not pollution.
People in other parts of the parks probably prefer it too. Like, honestly, like walking through Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom while fireworks are going, it's kind of annoying sometimes the way that those bangs reverberate off some of the stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to say something totally random. I'm curious if you remember this. You've seen both of the more recent Muppet movies, right? The Muppets 2011
yes.
And then Muppets Most Wanted. For one of them, I can't remember which one, but during a credit sequence, they show like computer-generated fireworks and it creates the shape of the Muppets in the sky. And I remember seeing that and being like, oh, I can't wait for the day where we can do that. And like, it's here. We can totally, it's not with fireworks, but it's the same visual effect. And I am all for drones. I'm just dying for the Disney parks in the States to use them.
It'll happen, I'm sure.
It's gonna happen sometime. Kyle, what's it from?
I don't know.
It's from Cabaret, starring Liza Minnelli.
Okay, I wasn't going to get there. I went through my list of Jeff go-tos, and I was like, could be Newsies, but I don't think so.
It's Liza. Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S. Anyway, let's move on. Those drones are awesome, though. Seriously, if you haven't seen them, folks, like, watch the video. Oh my God, if you're not going to get to Paris anytime soon, watch the video. Now let's move on, because Moana 2 has been announced at Walt Disney Animation Studios as their next feature film. The sequel will hit theaters on November 27th, 2024, and this sequel is different from the live-action remake that was previously announced last year. This sequel was originally set to be an original Disney Plus series, but has been reconfigured into a feature film. The sequel will be directed by Dave Derrick Jr. and feature music from Grammy winners Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, Grammy nominee Apatai Foai, sorry if I said that wrong, and three-time Grammy winner Mark Mancina. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda, not mentioned, which is a little surprising because I think the music of Moana is one of its strongest points and, quite memorable tunes. I mean, one of which is used in every nighttime spectacular now. So I'm going to assume he's just been busy, but still, I'm curious how that affects.
Well, I don't think they're going to pay him when it was going to be a TV show, and now that it's a movie, they're like, it's a little late. But yeah, it could also just be busy.
Yeah. So this was an interesting move to go from a series to a movie. It could be a few things. It could be, I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong or what you think about this, I think it was the strike that really probably affected this decision. I know a lot of the studios right now, they have no content to put out because of the recent strikes between WGA and SAG-AFTRA. You'll notice studios re-releasing things like Les Miserables coming back for its 25th anniversary from Universal. And yeah, so that's happening. So I think that's part of it, but also maybe there just wasn't enough story to make it a series.
It could be a couple things. I think you're right. It could be a strike thing. We've heard Iger say, though, that what they found is that, you have some things that are streaming originals that are moving the needle as far as, like Mandalorian and things like that. But as far as movies, like having the movie theatrically actually ends up being a good commercial when it goes to streaming. Like, so it might be a thing that they're like, hey, we spent a lot of money on this. It's actually really good. So putting it onto the streaming service probably isn't going to generate the kind of buzz and sub numbers. And remember, they're focusing now on less on the number of subscriptions and more on turning a profit, or at least breaking even. So I think that also kind of drives the decision to make it a theatrical, make it a movie, and then it'll, because the Moana is always one of the top stream movies. If you look at trending, it's like that and Bluey are always in the top 10. So it kind of makes sense to turn it into a theatrical. I understand that part of it. I just wonder at what point they changed it, because theoretically, like, the series would be a lot longer. So do they actually have like Moana 2 and 3 in the can and we don't know it? or what's going on? That's kind of the only thing I want to know.
We've got another Frozen situation happening here. Yeah, Moana's always in the top for Disney Plus, huh?
I know you said it was like a solid. Would you say B- or C+? I
think I said a solid C+ was my review.
I think you said solid C+, because I remember like the musicality of that phrase.
Yeah. I think I gave it a solid C+ when it originally came out. It's one I should rewatch. It's one that I will definitely say the music has grown on me. I still hate Shiny. Sorry, don't at me. I think Shiny is one of the worst Disney songs ever
maybe
written.
You'll change your mind when I say that the reason that the music's grown on me is because the first time we went to Paris, we went to a music store and we're looking at some of the stuff. We're like, it's fun to get Disney songs in different languages. So we bought the Moana soundtrack in French. And in France, the song's called Bling Bling.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Mika sings it or something, and I was going to get so excited.
Although, actually, it's not the Moana soundtrack that I have in French. It's the Vaiana soundtrack. So my favorite part of the entire soundtrack is when she goes, Je suis Vaiana. But yes, Bling Bling. So I thought maybe you'd like that better than Shiny.
No, I really don't. I hate the melody of that song so much.
And your welcome is Pour les hommes.
Pour les hommes.
Yeah.
Very nice. Cool. Well, so that's happening, and maybe it'll be more than
soon. November,
yeah, and maybe it'll be more than a solid C+. I'll give it perhaps a solid B or something. I don't know.
And we did. It wasn't confirmed when they first announced it, but The Rock and Ali
Cravalho.
Thank you. Both returning to voice their respective characters. Although, of course, she's not coming back to do the live action Moana. We don't know about him. I get mixed signals on that, but that's apparently still happening, but it's just not right away.
Yeah, I do think that that's weird to be making an animated sequel plus a live action. It'll be interesting to see now that Sean Bailey has, stepped down and he started this whole live action trend from the animated features, whether or not that slows down. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see how much money Moana makes when it becomes
they
live
only made
action.
so many movies.
Yeah.
So he kind of has to slow down at some point.
Now they're going to be like, based on the live action remake of the animated film comes another animated version from the live action remake. It'll just be this whole cyclical thing. But yeah, so more Moana coming. And yeah, I'm curious to check it out. I do need to rewatch that film. I do feel like I would probably give it more than a C+ if I saw it again, I think. But I said that about Princess and the Frog, and I stand with Princess and the Frog. It's the music that makes that film for me, not like the full film.
Well, I'm sure when the movie comes out, you'll be able to screen it at El Cap or something.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Or regular movie theaters, too, probably. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they won't re-release that, even if it's for, like, a double feature on fan event, whatever.
Heck yeah, double feature it. All right, let's move on because we got some new details from Fantasy Springs at Tokyo DisneySea, 100 days ahead of the opening. The official opening is June 6th of this year. We're, of course, getting Frozen Kingdom, Rapunzel's Forest, and Peter Pan's Neverland, as well as the latest Disney-themed hotel, Tokyo DisneySea Fantasy Springs Hotel. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts after seeing all of the Frozen Kingdom stuff and comparing it to World of Frozen in Hong Kong, which you got to experience in person. Was there anything that stood out to you looking at the artwork and such?
There's definitely some similar vibes. Even in the concept art, there's like a little pavilion off to the side, just like a little covered thing that reminded me a lot of something that's in Hong Kong. The food, not the food itself, but like kind of the interior, just kind of reminiscent, but the ride sounds like it's going to be definitely different. It's a different story, but I don't know how close it'll end up being to like Frozen Ever After in terms of like the ride system, I guess would be the term.
Yeah, so Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey is the name of it, and guests set on a voyage by boat, once again, that leads them through the events of Frozen. So this is a big change. I mean, the boat thing is the same, but this is, what did Tony Baxter always call it? He would call it a book report ride, where it's basically a book report version of the story we know from the film. So that's an interesting choice, and this isn't the first time we're going to see something like that with this whole new area. I'm kind of curious about that. Like, my guess is they've done studies in, that country, and they've found that that's more preferable or something. But I found that to be really, really interesting. Me personally, I like it when it's, preferably a stronger quote unquote sequel than Frozen Ever After.
I think you just hit on the problem. Like, I think Frozen Ever After is just kind of a weird mix, whereas it's like, is this after? Is it during? Why is she still singing Let It Go? Why is this scene being recreated if this is not that?
Yeah, I guess that's the problem, right? Like, if you have a Frozen ride, you need Let It Go in there. And in order for Let It Go to make sense, it kind of needs to take place during the first film. Although I'm sure, listen, there are a lot of creative people at Imagineering who I'm sure could figure out a way to work Let It Go, or at least that melody, into a new story. So, I don't know. I don't love the whole let's just repeat the movie sort of thing, but that's what's happening here, and it's an interesting difference. So it is not Frozen Ever After. I forget, in Hong Kong, is it called Frozen Ever After? I know it's essentially the same ride. It's called that as well.
It's called that, and it's better because they have the real faces.
That's right. They don't have the projected faces. Interesting. I wonder if that'll ever change.
I thought this when I went on it, but I've since learned that the drop is indeed steeper and more intense than the Epcot version.
Very nice. Cool. We're also getting a royal banquet of Arendelle in this land. And to me, it gave very Be Our Guest vibes, but it's counter service. So it should be less expensive, but it looks as detailed and kind of themed in a similar fashion.
Yeah, for sure. And the one in Hong Kong also is counter service, but also has some cool theming.
Very nice. In this area as well, we get Rapunzel's Forest. Here, guests can enjoy Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, the first attraction in the Disney park around the world to bring the story of Rapunzel to life and embark on a romantic journey aboard a boat once again. Along the way, guests will encounter Rapunzel and the legendary thief Flynn Rider and see their love blossom at the Lantern Festival. Another moment from the film, as opposed to, a happy ever after kind of moment. So, interesting.
Well, this one could be a sequel, though. I mean, I guess not necessarily based on that thing, but like if the Lantern Festival was for her, you could be. It's a thing that continues every year, so I guess you could still theme it to something after. Now Flynn and Rapunzel are telling you maybe the story of how it came to be, and then you get to participate for this thing that keeps going even though she's been found. Something like that,
Perhaps. They do say bring the story of Rapunzel to life. So I guess that it doesn't say the story of Tangled to life. So maybe.
But I think this will look, I mean, it has the potential to look really cool.
Those lanterns, no matter what you do with them, whether it's projection mapping or anybody listening, drones in the future, just gorgeous, just stunningly gorgeous. So yeah, I think that'll be beautiful, but interesting that it's another boat ride. We're also getting the Snuggly Duckling there for some food that looks less detailed, more quick service, but still.
They actually called it the Snuggly Duckling this time. There's one in Shanghai that is basically supposed to be the Snuggly Duckling, but it's called like Tangled Tree Tavern or something like that.
It's always fascinating when they do that, but also I wonder how it translates in their film. I wonder if it's different in a different language, perhaps. We're also getting Peter Pan's Neverland. The big question here, will it ease the lines over at Peter Pan's Flight over in Tokyo Disneyland? Because I'm sure that's what
they don't have as much park hopping there.
My guess is that must have been the thinking, though, right? Like, Peter Pan's Flight is enormously successful in every castle park that exists. Let's give an entire land and perhaps ease some of that. And for that reason, in the attraction Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure, guests join the Lost Kids, a group of fun-loving and adventurous children, and take part in an epic adventure through Neverland with Peter Pan and Tinkerbell to rescue John from Captain Hook and his band of pirates. Now, for this, they couldn't do a book report kind of ride because Peter Pan's Flight is essentially that. So they actually had to create something more unique for this, which I think is great. And then when Peter Pan informs guests that John has been kidnapped by Captain Hook and his pirate crew, they board a boat and set off on an adventure. Tinkerbell then sprinkles fairy dust on the boat, allowing guests to soar into the sky. So that's interesting as well, because to me, that immediately makes me think of Peter Pan's Flight. So is it the same sort of ride vehicle?
It's a good question, because this one, I mean, there is concept art for it that looks larger than that, and they have 3D glasses on.
Oh, I thought we were over 3D. Aren't we over 3D? It's 2024.
I guess not.
I guess we're not over 3D. It's interesting. Universal keeps stripping it away from their attractions more and more. Like Minions has lost it. Harry Potter has lost it here in Hollywood, and recently Reign of Kong at Islands of Adventure. They say temporarily they're getting rid of it, but why would they temporarily get rid of 3D glasses? I'm sure it's like a test, but
it's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, 3D, I'm sorry, 3D's
Muppet Vision 2D.
Well, listen, I like that or Mickey's PhilharMagic. I don't know. I just don't love it in rides. It just takes me out of it. Hey, that's just me. But it does seem like the general public doesn't buy into the 3D thing. It's a little interesting that a brand new attraction is doing 3D. Like the new 3D is augmented reality, right? Like, yeah, that's what we're waiting for. So in any case, we also get another ride in that land because we get Fairy Tinkerbell's Busy Buggies. And this attraction, it's located in Pixie Hollow. The Fairy Valley in Neverland, where Tinkerbell lives, is where guests board a Busy Buggy, a vehicle made by Tinkerbell, and they explore the Fairy Valley and its changing seasons. Guests can experience the changing seasons of Pixie Hollow as the Busy Buggies move in unpredictable directions throughout the Fairy Valley. Lookout Cookout is a hideout created by the Lost Kids. It also serves as a counter-service restaurant with approximately 200 seats. So more food, a second ride in this land, which is nice. And I don't know why, but I love the idea of traveling through the four seasons. I just think that's a fun concept.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of like kind of like the Heimlichs. I'm sure it'll be way more advanced than that. But that's just the first thing I thought of. And also, speaking of food, I do want to give a shout out to the popcorn cart that's going to be over in the Peter Pan area. It's going to have roast beef popcorn.
Oh, that sounds revolting.
I'm excited to try it.
Oh, God. Now,
here's my theory. I have a theory that it's actually going to taste more like seasoning salt that you would put on roast beef than just roast beef itself. But I don't know. I'm going to have to find out.
You're going to have to find out. I wonder if it's just going to be like a flavoring of the popcorn, or if did you say ice cream or popcorn?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. I wonder if it's going to be the flavor of the popcorn, or if they're going to actually sprinkle like dried roast beef among, the way that you throw candy into your popcorn at the movie theater. That does not sound appealing to me. But hey,
I've had corn pottage flavored popcorn at Tokyo. Corn flavored popcorn. Pretty good. Who would have known?
Right. Alrighty, well, from June 2024, the exhibit Fantasy Springs, A New Chapter Begins, themed to Fantasy Springs, will open at the shopping, dining, and entertainment complex Expiari?
That's how I say it.
All right.
Don't know if it's right, but that's how I say it.
The opening of Fantasy Springs marks the largest expansion of Tokyo DisneySea since its inception. So we're getting a little preview center for it. We're getting a lot of new stuff. I think it sounds really neat. Like, what a great expansion.
Yeah, is anyone surprised that Tokyo DisneySea is doing something that sounds awesome? I don't think anyone is.
I hope that Walt Disney World takes some lessons from this, and we kind of get this template used for this supposed villains area coming to Magic Kingdom.
They got $60 billion to spend. Come on.
In 10 years, of which we're already like a year into, so... 9
years.
Yeah.
Sound like Nelson Peltz. Did you read that white paper?
Why, is that one of his arguing points?
Just that, hey, they keep saying they're going to spend all this money, but they're going to spend it in 10 years. Why wait so long? What are you going to actually use it on? I'm like, yeah, you make some points.
Alrighty, well, Walt Disney World is introducing water park benefits for hotel guests starting in 2025. You get to enjoy complimentary admission to either Disney's Typhoon Lagoon or Disney's Blizzard Beach water park on their check-in day. This perk is included with the stay, and Walt Disney World Resort stays and theme park tickets for 2025 are now available to purchase, which is earlier than ever before, most likely because of a little thing called Epic Universe opening nearby. They're probably trying to get their, those rooms booked before that competition really kicks in. But I think this is a pretty cool perk. I will be very curious to see how many people take advantage of it, like what percentage. But even if you don't, like it's just good optics, right? Like, I have that option.
I like it for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've never actually been to the Walt Disney World water parks. So personally, if I were to stay at a Disney hotel, I would like to just have I can get in for free, even if I don't do anything, just to go check it out.
Which one would you go to? You get to choose one. Which one are you going to?
Well, they've only been keeping one open at a time, so I probably won't have a choice, but I would go to Blizzard Beach, no question.
Really? Okay, I would choose Typhoon Lagoon. Having done both, I've
heard that's the better one, but the theming of Blizzard Beach interests me more. I've been to Winter Summerland, so I've probably seen the majority of what it has to offer, but I would still be interested in that. The other thing I like is I actually happened to see an article from another site a little bit ago, where they were talking about how they were trying to book Lightning Lane or Virtual Queue or something on the plane, but the Wi-Fi was down. And my first thought was like, wait, why are you trying to rush it? You're going to rush into the parks on the day you get there? Like, take a break. So I think this encourages people to take a break, still get to do something Disney and fun without, wasting, for lack of a better term, one of their actual theme park days. Like, just go to your hotel, go to the water park if you want, maybe check out Disney Springs, and then get into the theme parks themselves after that.
Maybe not even go to your hotel. Maybe just do mobile check-in and go straight to Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach.
Yeah, just wear that bathing suit on the plane. Makes TSA easier.
I mean, they have changing rooms at them.
Yeah.
And wait, but Disney doesn't take care of your luggage anymore.
Right.
Damn, Magical Express, how I miss you. Oh, I do remember one time getting to Walt Disney World. I forget which resort I was staying at, but I get to Walt Disney World, check in there. They were taking care of my luggage, so that wasn't an issue. And I just went to a bathroom, changed in my bathing suit, and went directly to Volcano Bay. So it's a thing that happens. But yeah, I think this is kind of cool. What it does do, I think you'll see people really kind of planning their trips more, because let's face it, you're going to start considering earlier flights if you want to take advantage of this. And luck is going to have to be on your side, right? Florida weather is not great. And this is something that I feel like was probably a big problem. I never really heard people talk about it much, but I just always assumed the problem with the park reservations was if you're like planning on a day to do a water park and it's crap weather and you're like, well, this is not good water park day, but I will go to a theme park, like, and you can't make that easy change with the reservations, it's a problem. So I feel like that could have affected water park attendance in general. I don't know. I just think this is great. I think this is cool. I'm not sure I would necessarily take advantage of it, but I love that it's an option.
And hopefully at some point we'll have both water parks open at the same time again.
Anyway, let's talk about the fact that Disneyland Resort debuted Notify Me systems online for their ticket queues. With tickets going on sale for this year's Disneyland After Dark Star Wars Nights events, a new Notify Me feature was added, allowing those waiting in the online queue to purchase tickets the ability to be notified when it's their turn to enter the ticket store. Now, to participate in this, once in the queue, choose the Notify Me option and enter your email address. Disney will send you 2 separate emails containing a unique link. Clicking the link in the first email will allow you to check your place in the queue until it's your turn. You can use the link multiple times to check your status in the queue before it's your turn. You'll then receive a second email letting you know it is your turn to return to the waiting room in order to enter the ticket store site. From that time, your turn begins. You'll have 10 minutes to use the link to return to the site, or you'll lose your place in line and will need to rejoin the queue. This unique link will only work once. Disney does warn that emails may be delayed, moved to your spam folder, or lost due to unforeseen reasons, so it's recommended that you periodically check your queue status. I mean, listen, I'm happy that they're trying new things. I feel like this will create a whole new set of headaches. I'm a little surprised they didn't say put your phone number. I feel like text is way more reliable.
Maybe they'll get to that.
Maybe.
So I feel this, like we mentioned, the first test of this was for Star Wars Night, which I imagine was probably like a lower stakes situation. But on the day we're recording this, tomorrow, Magic Key sales are going to resume again, and they're going to be using this system. So I think that'll be a better test. And then hopefully they'll be able to perfect this, and maybe even, like you suggest, using an SMS. I think that's a great idea for Oogie Boogie, because that's going to be when you really need it.
Actually, I think before that, D23, Ultimate Fan Event, I think. Oh, well,
right.
You don't need to worry about that, but I think
I meant the Disneyland Resort in general, but yes, D23, totally.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big thing there. Listen, I'm happy that this exists. I do think text would have been better, but the fact that they keep trying new things is good because, you know, the current state or the previous state was unacceptable. I mean, who's not going to use multiple email addresses? That's what I want to know. I have like 10 email addresses. I'm going to be using them all. And that's like the easy way to cheat the system. And I think everybody's going to be doing that. So, you know, if everybody's cheating, is nobody cheating? That's the question.
So wait, you'd use multiple ones so hopefully one of them would go through quicker?
Yes.
Well, then if it's the same thing as just having multiple browser windows, like you don't need to do this Notify Me. If you're going to sit there all day anyway, then...
No, I'm not going to sit there all day. I will just have I'll have the Notify Me on multiple email addresses with the hope that use whichever one comes first.
Well, good luck checking all of those all day.
You put alerts on your phone. New email. I get alerts all the time anyway. So, yeah, I mean, you're still going to have to listen. 10 minutes is not a lot of time. Like, you're still going to need to stand by. And you know that you're going to get that email at the least convenient time possible. But it's better than sitting online, especially like if there's a system crash. There's nothing more frustrating than being in a queue 4 hours in and like your internet crashes or something. Like, I don't know. It's definitely an improvement, but...
And it gives you a backup link in that situation where if you're on your desktop and your Wi-Fi goes out, then at least you can probably resume the transaction on your phone.
Exactly.
You have a way to do that. So that's a good point that I didn't even think about.
Yeah, totally. And I will just say, you know, in this trend, anybody at Disney listening, please add this feature to your phone lines, your customer service lines that have way too long of holds. please have the callback option like many companies do. It would be much appreciated because sitting on a phone line on hold is unpleasant as well. So yeah, I think that's great. Anything you want to add?
Nope.
Perfect. Following an announcement that the Disney Movie Club will be shutting down after 23 years of operation, it's now been revealed by The Wrap that Sony Entertainment, yes, Sony Entertainment, which Disney does not own, will be taking over Disney's home video business via a licensing model. As part of this new agreement, Sony will market, sell, and distribute Disney's new releases, plus catalog titles on physical media, including 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD, to consumers through retailers and distributors in the US and Canada. I mean, listen, you know my stance on physical media. Apparently, a listener of last week's episode, Jamie, left a comment asking, I, of course, interviewed Amy O'Neill from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. We were talking about prop culture on Disney+. Jamie wants to know, where can I watch prop culture? And I told him, the answer's nowhere, Jamie, because they took it off of Disney+, and there is no physical media version of this show. I guess it's good there's a plan in place for somebody. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good. I've never paid attention to Sony's physical media. Maybe they're really good at it. But it's not good that Disney's like, we don't care enough to take care of this ourselves anymore. Oh.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, it's definitely sad that Disney not going to be doing it themselves, but there is always the chance, like you kind of insinuated, that maybe Sony will see more value in this, and maybe they'll release things or be willing to take a shot on things that, you know, if they're like, oh, well, if we can license this and put this out, I think this would sell. Or maybe even do something like, so, you know, Hasbro does something called HasLab. I think that's what it's called, where it's basically like crowdfunding. Like, if we get enough sales of this, then we'll actually manufacture it. So I think it'd be interesting if Sony took up something like that. Like, hey, we've heard you guys want this. If enough of you support this, we'll actually do this. And I'm not saying that that this is like totally what their plan is, but I do think it opens up opportunities potentially that if Disney wasn't going to bother, that if Sony can make enough money, you know, off of their rival studio that has, you know, a lot more IP than they do. Yeah, it's not impossible.
You know, Warner Brothers is not in a great place right now, but Warner Brothers does have this really great option in their online store where they basically print stuff on demand. So, like, being a fan of the show Growing Pains, they set the problematic star of that show aside. They only really released the first 2 seasons of that show for retail sale. The last 5 seasons, I had to get through like this request online. You go to their store, you request it, they print it on demand. I really think that should be like the future of everything, everywhere, because to lose content because a streaming service wants to just remove it is just unacceptable to me. Like, it needs to exist for people who want it and for the artists who made it. So I would love to see something like that happen with Disney physical media. I'm not holding my breath, but
yeah. Well, I mean, now that you mention that, first of all, I think that's awesome. And, you know, remember they used to have things in the parks where you used to be able to do like music on demand that way. One of the things about the loss of the Disney Movie Club is that sometimes they would have DVDs and sets that were exclusive to them. So I wonder if Sony will kind of take up that mantle. And even if they don't, you know, you don't need to stock it at Best Buy. But in the world of e-commerce, like, what's, like you're saying, like, why not just list it on demand? Like, sure, say it takes 2 weeks to ship or whatever, but give us the option to buy it. So I do hope that Sony embraces that.
Yeah, with Disney Movie Club, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is only available on Blu-ray, I believe, because of Disney Movie Club. Because I remember when that came out, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, both came out on Blu-ray on Disney Movie Club. I was not a member. Somebody I know who was, like, ordered them for me because they weren't available any other way. Maybe that has changed since. I'm not sure. But yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I had a friend of mine buy The Weekenders for me through Disney Movie Club because that was the only place you could get it.
Crazy. So yeah, I honestly think physical media is becoming more and more important. Obviously, I've been touting this for years. I do think more and more people are jumping on board with this because of this sort of thing that we're seeing, where things are just disappearing and streaming. More and more stuff is being edited that, is just questionable. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like changing the original materials. So
now we just need Sony to buy Coyote versus Acme.
what's that?
Isn't that what that movie is? The Warner Brothers movie that they...
Oh, the one that they did, the Wile E. Coyote movie that just got like shelved. Yeah, like gosh, why is that not on Max? They didn't put that on Max. That's
no,
crazy.
they're taking the write off.
That's ridiculous. That should be illegal.
That and
like,
Batgirl are the two big ones that I think it's happened to other stuff too, but those are the two for Warner Brothers.
How that's not illegal is beyond me. That feels like some producers crap right there. Like Mel Brooks, the producers, you can make more money with a flop than with a hit. Like that's what it feels like.
It does feel like that. I don't know about illegal, but I agree with the producer's analogy.
Oh, I genuinely think it should be illegal to dump a bunch of money into something with the purpose of it being to never release it and just take a write-off. Like that's ridiculous. That's insane to me. In any case, that's the end of the news. There are a few things I want to touch on, but before I do, anything you want to add?
Not that I think of. I mean, it's been so long that I'm sure plenty of stuff happened that I completely forgot about already.
Yes, tons of stuff happened. But of course, there's laughingplace.com for all of that, where all of the latest Disney news. But I do want to say I said goodbye to Tale of the Lion King during its final week in the Fantasyland Theater at Disneyland. This is a show that was so damn good, never caught on. It makes me sad. You never saw it in person, right?
I honestly don't remember. I think I might have seen the DCA version.
Okay, I will admit, the DCA version was not great. The Fantasyland theater version ran about a year and a half. It was really good. Like, sorry, this is going to upset some people. I like it more than Mickey and the Magical Map. I thought it was
I don't like Mickey and the Magical Map very much either.
Oh, gosh, we're going to get some angry mail now.
I like the other versions of that show better than that show.
All right, fair enough. But I don't know. I really loved Tale of the Lion King. The cast was awesome every time I saw it. And I'm sad it's gone, but I'm glad I got to say goodbye to it in a proper fashion. I also want to mention something that happened to me over at Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. Tell me if you've ever seen this happen. So the ride broke down. I was in the queue, like a standard standby queue for this. The ride breaks down and they make the announcement, okay, guys, we don't know how long this is going to be. If you want, leave the line. I don't know, the 5/6 of the line leave. Once all those folks left, they gave the rest of us who were willing to wait passes to come back later. Have you ever seen this happen? They basically weeded out the people who really didn't care. And for those that did care, they're like, all right, we'll give you the return time ticket.
That's cool. No, I mean, I don't think I've had that happen to me, but I mean, I've had no strings before, but it was just like a return time. It wasn't even like you couldn't use it elsewhere. You had to use it for that attraction, or
I honestly don't know. I just know I really wanted to ride that attraction because I hadn't ridden it in a long time. In fact, you want to hear how long it had been?
It wasn't Detective Jessica.
Exactly. I hadn't seen it with Dick Tracy Jessica in there. So I was like, let's just do it. And the ride, the line was not, it was, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. But I was willing to do it. And I've just never seen them weed out the line in that fashion. It's usually just okay, it's broken down and everybody gets a pass. And so if you're in a line, and it wasn't like we waited a half hour or something, it was 10 minutes maybe. And they were like, here you go. So keep that in mind, folks. If you're in a line and they make the announcement, wait around a little while if you want to try and get one. No guarantees, but fun to know. And then also, I just want to shout out listener Robert, who suggested a YouTube video to me. I'm curious if you've heard of this, Kyle. It's called, It's not new or anything, but it's called Remain Seated, Please, a Hoot and Chief story. Have you heard of this?
It sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
Okay, this is about the old Horizons attraction at Epcot Center. And these two guys shouldn't have done this, but they did.
Okay, I've heard the story, but I don't know if I've seen this particular video.
Yeah, they would hop off the ride and explore and hang out with the animatronics, take photos with them, and they just figured out a system to time it where they wouldn't get caught. And they did this for, I think it was years. And it's fascinating. It's about a half hour long. If you're interested in it, Hoot or Remain Seated, Please is what it's called. I'll include a link in the show notes. Really, it was
Spanish.
quite good.
Permanecen sentados, por favor.
Exactly. It was quite good. I liked it. So check that out. And beyond that, that's all I got this time around. Anything you want to add, Kyle, or anything super Disney magical you did during the couple months that we were away?
Well, I'm about to go head off on a Disney adventure tomorrow, but we can talk about that next time. But no, I just wanted to share a memory. You mentioned the Roger Rabbit thing. It made me think, do you remember when Roger Rabbit was the only FastPass machine not connected to the rest of the park's FastPass machines?
Yes, God bless FastPass. Yes, so that was a system cheat that I would take full advantage of. So I will tell you, by the time FastPass went away, I figured out the system. I would have like 4 and 5 fast passes in my pocket, and I would spend like the first half of the day or even like 2/3 of the day enjoying shows, collecting fast passes, and then at the end of the day, I was boom, 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 attraction, attraction, attraction. It was splendid. Lord, how I miss it so badly. I was at a media event recently at Disney California Adventure, and, they give you Genie Plus for that. And as you know, I will not buy into Genie Plus, but I'll use it when it's given to me for free. I hate it so much. So much. And we're never going backwards, and I know this, but damn, I miss FastPass.
I'm surprised we don't have more paper FastPass merchandise. Like, I know that they've done some over time, but I think that's going to be like a next big collection just to really rub salt in the wounds and make money off of you.
I have a bunch of them because I'm like, these are this generation's e-ticket books, and
I think the last one I got was actually an invitation for a wedding, so not a real FastPass, but
like an official Disney wedding or like something like fan made.
Well, it was at Disney, so I don't know if that was a thing that they offered or whether they made it. I kind of assumed the latter, but I guess it's not impossible that it was a Disney thing.
Interesting. Very cool. Alrighty, anything else to add?
I don't think so.
Alrighty, then that's the news. I will see you again in a couple weeks, Kyle. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Welcome to 2024. We're now 2+ months into it, which is crazy to think. But yeah, it's good to see you again. I'll see you again in a couple weeks.
All right, see you then.
To read more about any and all of the stories you've heard here today, simply visit the show notes link in this episode's description. You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think of Disney outsourcing its physical media division and getting rid of Disney Movie Club? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569, and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing and following Disney with a Z, Coast to Coast on your favorite podcast app, where episodes are available 24/7. Thank you to current patrons over on the DCTC Patreon page: Teresa A., Erica P., Jeremy B., Robert S., Sarah H., Leah C., Faith C., Bonnie B., Jeffrey R., Gerardo T., Jared B., Philip E., Diego P., and Monet P. Thanks to you for supporting the show. If you'd like to become a patron of DCTC yourself and gain bonuses, simply click on the Patreon link in this episode's description. Until next time, anything you need can be found in this episode's description. From additional information and links discussed in this episode found in the show notes, contact info to reach me, access to the show's official website, some free gifts from me to you, and so much more. So be sure to check out this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!